So Ubisoft game director Scott Phillips sat down with Game Informer and answered 107 rapid-fire questions about the new Assassin's Creed game known as Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about here. The new Assassin's Creed game. And normally we wouldn't be talking about this on this channel because we haven't seen an Assassin's Creed game on a Nintendo platform since Black Flag back on the Wii U. And Game Informer asked him in one of the rapid-fire questions, could this come to Switch? And here's what Scott Phillips had to say. Again, these are rapid-fire questions, so these are rapid-fire answers. He's not going to expand upon the answer. And he says, I don't know how to program, so otherwise I would do it myself. I think it's a very interesting response. I'm not going to knock him because, again, rapid-fire questions, rapid-fire answers. A lot of answers were silly. It was kind of a fun interview. I have a link down in the description for you guys to go watch it. It's right here on YouTube, 107 rapid-fire questions for Scott Phillips. And the thing is, I find that response a little interesting. It's not that, he doesn't know how to program. He's a game director, not a game programmer. So I don't think it's like essential he knows how to program, and I'm not going to knock him for that because that's, he has to understand how programming works, of course, but he doesn't need to know how to program to be a game director. But what I find interesting is that if he did know how to program, he said that he would do it himself. Why? Here's my thing. Obviously, this comment is a throwaway comment, but it's one that you could read something into this. You can read something more into the general feeling of why Assassin's Creed Odyssey isn't on Switch. Now, I think all of us can agree that obviously Switch has technical limitations. I don't think any of us can sit here and pretend that that doesn't exist. That doesn't mean a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey can't be on Switch, but we do understand, just like with Doom, just like with Wolfenstein 2, there would be significant sacrifices and resolution changes and frame rate changes and whatever needs to be made to make a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey run on Switch. It's not impossible. It's just a task that Ubisoft doesn't really seem willing to take on at this point, at least with this particular Assassin's Creed game. But I do think it's interesting how he said, otherwise he would do it himself. It makes it sound like he does want it on Switch himself. If it was completely up to him as the director of the game, or director of games in general at Ubisoft, he would make that decision. But I think by him mentioning that he doesn't know how to program, he's inferring that it's not just as simple as him just saying as game director at Ubisoft, this game's going to be on Switch. Like, he has to confer with the people who actually do the real programming. And chances are the people programming this game don't look at Switch as a viable platform. And we can knock that. We can get mad at Ubisoft for it, whatever. We're like, well, then how is Starlink Battle for Atlas, going to come to Switch and stuff like that. But I don't think Assassin's Creed Odyssey runs on the new engine. If I remember right, it does not run on Snowdrop. Maybe it does run on Snowdrop, so don't 100% quote me on that. I haven't done research into Assassin's Creed Odyssey in a while, but it's what sucks is that, if the programmers think that, then the programmers think that, and there's nothing that can be done. These decisions can't just be made by one person. Yves Guillemot can't just be like, you are bringing Assassin's Creed Odyssey to Switch. Like, if you don't have the team in place that wants to do it, that has the talent to do it, or another outside studio who wants to do it that you're willing to hire, then it's just not going to happen. I personally want to see Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Switch. I want to see Assassin's Creed Origins come to Switch. I think Origins would fit very well in with the Switch's current library. The problem, of course, being that Origins runs, I believe, on the Anvil engine, and the Anvil engine is a very hard to optimize for lesser hardware. It's not like the ID Tech 6 or ID Tech 7 engine or even Unreal Engine 4 that's built for scalability. Like, that's not the way the Anvil engine was built. So any games made on the Anvil engine are pretty hard to bring over to Switch, especially if they're really high demanding games. I think what I'm obviously more shocked about is that the Division 2 from Ubisoft wasn't announced as coming to Switch, because that is using, the Snowdrop engine 100% for sure. And that's what Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle runs on, and we're not getting that. I believe the Assassin's Creed Odyssey engine is still the Anvil engine. Again, I don't really know. It could possibly be Snowdrop. I've been pouring through some interviews And I'm not seeing any mention of the exact engine, the exact video game engine it's being made on. And remember, Assassin's Creed games are in development for 3 to 4 years, so it would make sense if this one's still using the Anvil engine and the next one's using Snowdrop. The Division probably wasn't, the Division 2 when that was announced was probably not in development as long as this Assassin's Creed was, especially with that year delay. This game has also had 4 years of work on it. I don't know. I'm a bit torn. I think I've always been a bit torn on this. Because I want every single game possible to come to Switch, and is this game possible to come to Switch if it's using that older engine? Probably not. I don't know. I'm glad that he at least says that, you know what, like, if he had the ability to bring it to Switch, he would bring it to Switch. That's essentially what Scott said, and I respect that. I respect that Ubisoft is trying to support the Switch more and more. Again, Starlink Battle for Atlas, I think it's going to be a nice test case there, using the new engine. Brand new IP. Obviously, it's got that Star Fox crossover. If that does very, very well on Switch, I can see them investing more and more in Switch moving forward, not just with titles that happen to feature Nintendo characters, but just in general. I think Ubisoft is on the precipice of wanting to bring every single game they have to Switch. I honestly think Bethesda is of that mindset as well. I think Bethesda isn't ready to fully commit every game in their library. Yeah, we're getting Doom Eternal and everything, but we're not getting Fallout 76. I don't think Bethesda's ready to give everything they've got to Switch, but they're on the edge. They're seeing some success. They want to see that success continue, so they're on the edge. And I think Ubisoft's in that same place where, sure, Just Dance sells all right. Yeah, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle did good, but Starlink is not a Nintendo game. Yes, it's got Star Fox in it, but it's breaking further away from Nintendo advertising. Is that game going to perform well? All right, if that one performs well, now it's time to bring over something that doesn't feature a Nintendo character and see if that performs well. I think they're taking a more cautious approach than they have in the past, when they just jumped in right away, gave us Assassin's Creed 3, gave us Assassin's Creed 4, because they want to ensure that the audience is there, that is slowly growing in demand for their products. And it's probably a very smart business decision. Obviously, I always want companies to go all in on Switch, but Nintendo has kind of burned a lot of these companies over the year, Ubisoft included. It's just nice that they still have that nice working relationship with them. So, again, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is not coming to Switch. It's not happening. Assassin's Creed Origins isn't going to get a late port to Switch either. But I don't think that precludes future Assassin's Creed games from coming, or even a really late port of the Division 2 at some point. They just want to slowly trickle in these games. Next up is Starlink Battle for Atlas. That sells well. That's going to help convince Ubisoft they should start throwing the Switch in with their intended to develop for platforms at the very beginning of our project. And see what happens. Anyways, folks, that's really all I have to say. Obviously, as we get into the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2 or Xbox Next or whatever they end up calling it, generations, we're going to see an interesting shift. We don't know what's going to happen with Switch Pro, if that's ever a thing. We don't even know if it'll be called Switch Pro, Switch 2, Switch XL, new Nintendo Switch, knowing Nintendo's naming conventions, new Nintendo Switch XL, whatever they decide to call it, new Nintendo Switch Mini XL 2.0 2DS. I don't know. Nintendo's got some weird naming conventions. You guys let me know what you think about this news down in the comments below. I'm Nathaniel Rufflejets from Nintendo Prime. And remember, if you love what I do here at this channel, be sure to check us out at patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support what we do and ensure we can continue to do this every single day. Almost 365 days a year. Every now and then we have a day off. But, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one.